Fort Selden was established as a historic site in 1972. And so for many years, it's been operated by the New Mexico Historic Sites. But we're very excited right now because we've got a lot of great future plans for Fort Selden. And we're working on those right now. We're doing some preservation work on the ruins. We're also developing some new tours, some school outreach programs, and doing some new research on the fort. And we want to share that with our visitors.
Fort Selden was established in 1865. The reason for it to be here was to protect settlers in the Mesilla Valley and travelers on what had been the Camino Real. You were responsible for 16,000 square miles, though, which made them fairly inefficient. The fort was decommissioned in 1891. Through its tenure, the various companies that moved through this post, there were an awful lot of them. 4 of those companies were black troopers, or what we now refer to as Buffalo Soldiers. When the fort was established in 1865, a company, the 125th, were the first federal soldiers here, and they were a Buffalo Soldier unit. You also had 2 other infantry units, the 24th, you had the 38th, and you also had the 9th Cavalry.
So once the fort was established here to protect travelers and settlers on the Camino Real, it was an important part of the development of the entire valley.
In helping the community, the hospital that was part of the post here had a post surgeon. They were usually better trained than a lot of the local doctors. It was probably the best hospital anywhere around here, so if your family could get you here, the doctor would take care of you. So it was a very nice provision for the entire valley. So it was a boon like any other military post today to the local economy.
Living on a frontier fort was a real challenge for women. And the officers were the ones whose wives came to the fort. And so we have a lot of accounts, historical accounts of these women and what they wrote about living at a fort. And it was quite a challenge and quite a different type of environment for them and for their children. I think just the idea of not being in a community where you have all of the things you would expect, your women's groups and your people to help you with different chores. I think all of those things just became a big challenge here for those women. And also, I think just really being so isolated from other people and from larger communities was a real challenge.
The soldiers had done such a good job by 1878, the military found no reason to keep the fort occupied, so all the soldiers moved out. But once they had left, they started having problems with the Apaches, so the post was re-garrisoned in 1881. The post commander that re-garrisoned the fort at that time was Arthur MacArthur, a young Douglas MacArthur's father. He arrived with his wife, Pinky, and their other son, Arthur. In Douglas's memoirs, he stated that at Fort Selden as a young lad, that he learned to ride a horse and fire a gun before he could read or write.
In the museum, we have a visitor center, and it has a really interesting exhibit that has a lot of photographs from the frontier forts. They're not all of Fort Selden, but they give you a real picture of what life was like living on the fort. And so we've got a very nice visitor center. Of course, we have restrooms. We are open 9 to 5, Wednesday through Sunday, and there are rangers here that can help visitors to answer their questions and to give special tours for people who ask us to take them through the fort. And so there's a lot of opportunities here to really learn about the history of the fort, but also I think to just really experience what it's like to be in an authentic historic site.